Hi, I'm Chuan Lai, and you're listening to Do Not Click.
Check, check, 1, 2. You're listening to.
Do not click.
Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you too.
And Happy New Year to everyone who's listening.
Yes. 恭喜发财.
So how was your New Year? How was yesterday?
How was my New Year's Eve? It was good. It was very busy. It was very stressful. It was super busy. As you know, I was hosting the countdown show.
Wearing a very shiny suit yesterday.
Oh yeah, I had the shiniest suit available at MediaCorp. Yeah.
How do you wash that kind of suit?
Oh gosh, I have no idea. I returned it to them.
Oh, it's okay. It doesn't look washable though.
I don't think it's washable, so I presume that the next person who wears it will just have to smell me.
The traffic was bad yesterday when you got off from the promontory.
It was okay. No, it was quite terrible. It was not okay. No, it was okay in the sense that there was no traffic because the roads were closed. So what we had to do was we had to walk across the road, and then the MediaCorp bus would pick us up and then would send us back to MediaCorp. And that's where I got my grab.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you don't drive.
I do. But I didn't drive that day because
Okay.
it's just such a
It's
hassle.
crazy. It's crazy, yeah. And you mentioned that you got back to work earlier this morning, right after the countdown.
I did. I had to go back to work to do a voiceover for my new show. It's a game show on Octo called Museum Mysteries.
Ooh.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's not just me because my producer and writer for this show, they also worked on the live updates
Okay.
for Countdown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. You always work with the same team, so to speak.
No, not necessarily. It just so happens that this show and the people who are doing live updates are the same people.
Okay. How long have you been working in MediaCorp?
How long have I been? Okay, I think my first TV show was like. Do you remember Daddy's Girls?
Yeah.
Huh? Why do you remember Daddy's Girls?
It's a very old show, right? Like,
Yeah. How do you remember? How old are you?
I'm 28.
Yeah, Daddy's Girl 2004. It actually won the Asian Television Award for Best Comedy. Yeah, that was 2004.
Not that long ago.
Yeah, my first show for Channel 5, I think.
That's your very, very first.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay. You were knocking on 40 this year.
Uh-huh.
And before you came to Singapore, you lived in New Zealand for quite a while, right?
Yeah, I grew up in New Zealand.
You grew up in New Zealand.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember anything from New Zealand?
Of course. I mean,
You studied
I was
every
there.
day.
I went through primary school, secondary school, university in New Zealand. Yeah, so I do remember quite a bit of it.
Do you study theatre or acting?
I actually studied architecture.
Architecture.
Yeah.
Okay, so you had no education on acting whatsoever.
I
on
did.
theatre arts.
I did classes in acting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what spurred you to that direction? Have you always been interested in acting?
Yeah, I guess so. I'd always wanted to be an actor, I think. I was too young to get into drama school because a lot of drama schools do not accept students who are younger than 20 years old.
Okay.
Because they want you to have a little bit of life experience. So I did something that I liked. I still appreciate architecture. I don't practice as one, obviously, but I love architecture very much. And anyway, I'm a Singaporean, so I still have to come back for NS.
Yes, that's right.
Which is what happened in the end. I came back to Singapore, and I've just kind of been stuck here ever since.
Okay. Can you share a little bit about the story of how you landed in MediaCorp right after NS?
I don't work exclusively with MediaCorp. I'm an actor and a host, and I work with various production houses. I do theatre as well. Basically, I guess it's actually the same story for any actor. You audition, right? I mean, you just audition. Every actor goes through an audition.
Back then, like there's no Google. How do you come across that?
I heard it from a human being.
Oh,
I was
it's a friend.
invited by a human being.
Word of mouth.
It was an email. It's word of mouth. I guess that's how it worked, and that's how it still works, really.
I'm very interested to know the stories of you were starting out. I guess you've worked there for a very long time, right? But starting out, can you share with us whether you were nervous starting your first show, going through the audition? Like, how was it like?
Absolutely. I can share that with you. I hate auditions. every actor hates auditions.
Yeah, because handling rejection and all that is very tough, right?
I mean, to you who is listening right now, I mean, how often do you go for a job interview? So just imagine an actor goes through a job interview many times throughout a year. You know, sometimes there are shows that you don't have to audition for. You know, say you're working with people whom you know very well. But there are always new people who are working on a show who will want to see what you are like in this context.
Whether you fit the role.
Absolutely, because every show is a different world. And I think it doesn't really matter how versatile you are. There are people who still want to see you in that world. Thus, you audition. I don't know anyone who doesn't need to audition.
Even Pierre Peng or Gurmit Singh, they still go for
Even
auditions.
Hollywood stars go for auditions.
Wow. They're just not offered the role on the silver platter.
No, I don't think so. Everyone needs to go for an audition. Not all the time, maybe not as frequently, but I think an audition is basically a standard procedure for any actor.
But the process, has it become easier doing it time and time again?
No, and I think why I don't get bored with this job is that
No, what I mean is that like it gets less and less nerve-wracking for auditioning.
No, because every job that you take is a different job. It's a different period. It could be a different language. You know, it's a different style, different genre. So you are learning on every project. So I guess the audition is different. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the news a little bit.
Uh-huh.
A show that I guess Singaporeans really enjoyed since maybe Phua Chu Kang or Under One Roof, I think. It's very risque. It's very satire, you know. Then there's a lot of hidden messages behind every skit and all that. It feels like there's a lot of team effort in coming up with the project altogether. You know, there's Michelle Chong, Alaric Tay and all that. Can you just share a bit about the experience in the news?
Sure. I've worked on the news for about 9 seasons, for about 12 or 13 years.
That's very long.
Yeah. So it's been a huge part of my life. I auditioned for it along with Alaric at where P5 used to be. P5 doesn't exist anymore. P5 used to be Production 5.
Is that Caldecott?
Yes, it
That's
is.
Caldecott, okay.
Yeah.
It went through the transition of the new building at Star Vista as well.
Totally, of course, because that move happened only just 2 years ago.
2 years ago, right?
Yeah. And I believed that Prem and Sebas, the producers of the news, had seen me somewhere, seen us somewhere. Not that Alaric and I were working together. I didn't really know Alaric that well then. So basically, we were called into audition. And yeah, you just go in and they told us that, okay, it's this sketch comedy show. And sketch comedy shows, you know, were huge. They still are. I grew up on a diet of Fast Forward, which is an Australian comedy show, sketch comedy show, as well as Dawn French and Jennifer Saunders.
Those were your inspirations?
I mean, they're just shows that I used to watch when I was little.
Okay.
And yeah, I was like, great, I think Singapore needs a sketch comedy show because there hadn't been one in years. There used to be sketch comedy shows, but I wasn't around.
Do you have a lot of input for the show as well? Like contributions? It's not just an idea of what the director envisioned.
Absolutely. Because I think what's so special about the news is that it's a collaborative effort. Like a lot of the characters, we talked about, oh, what accent are you good at? You know, they would never force us to do an accent that we're not comfortable with. What's the point? You've got these 4 actors, right, who do comedy and like to do some accents. So, yeah, we'll just play around with that. We'll always come up with stories like people whom we know, whom we've met, and we're like, hey, let's do this character like this. Then we create the characters together. But of course, with the news, because it's a parody of the news, there are many other characters. And what's special about the news is that you have this core cast that's playing all the characters. Yeah. So a lot of the stories come from the writers, and then we execute it. But how we execute it is a collaborative effort.
Was there like tumultuous rehearsals after rehearsals just to fine-tune the character, just to make sure that, you know, it's as good as it is when it comes on TV? Because it really feels like it's very refined, all the characters.
I'm glad you say it looks refined because sometimes it's really hit and run.
Maybe it's just the skill as an actor.
I guess the skill of an actor, if you're asking what the skill of an actor is to be able to do something and to do it over and over again. Because in a sense, anyone can act.
Yeah.
Anyone can create a moment that's memorable, but they can't do it again.
The consistency.
The actor's job is to be able to do it again as if they're doing it for the first time. Right?
Do you feel like you are method acting when you are as Ponsak?
No?
Oh, speaking of Ponsak, there's actually a guy called Ponsak, the host.
Yep.
The name derived from.
I didn't come up with a name.
Oh, that wasn't you.
It was quite interesting because my friend's partner was living in Singapore as a Thai expat. And he's a really nice guy, but his accent was quite strong. And
Thai accent.
yes, he's a Thai expat. His accent was quite strong. And I used to have quite a bit of trouble understanding what he was saying, right? And I thought, wow, but it's really distinctive, So I was like, I kind of learned the accent that way. And I suggested, hey, why don't we have a Thai character? Yeah. But I didn't come up with a name.
Okay, Ponsak. The couple syllables Ponsak, is already very suggestive. So,
It's not suggestive. It's a very common name in Thai.
oh, is it?
It's like John.
Have you met the guy Ponsak, that host?
I've done a few shows with him.
Did he mention about the name, like the similarities between your character and him? Was there a conversation that came up? I played the guy with your name.
No. I guess it's like John.
Oh, okay. As a Singaporean, I didn't know that name is a common name. So I was wondering whether he had,
Whether he was offended. He's a friend of mine. Ponsak's a friend of mine.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, we talk about it. We joke about it a little bit, but there's nothing too precious about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you do theatre before you did MediaCorp, or
Yes.
in your Fly Entertainment page, you mentioned like over 50 theatre production houses.
Over 50 productions, yeah.
Do you enjoy doing theatre as much as acting?
Acting for TV, you mean?
Acting for TV, yes, that's right. Or in front of the camera.
Of course, but they're two different things.
Yeah, that's right.
To me, it really depends. Okay, my enjoyment depends so much on the script, on the people whom I'm working with, the role, because in both genres, there's the good and there's the bad.
You mean like pros and cons?
Yeah. On stage, the process is very different. When you do stage, you rehearse for a month, maybe even 2, and you go out on stage and you perform for 2 hours, 3 hours at one go. No one's stopping you. You stop, you die. Right?
The show must go on.
Right. For TV or film, it's different. You shoot in scenes which may not be in a chronological order. And it's, how long is a scene? A few minutes. It's quite a different discipline. What benefits do theater actors get? The applause at the end of each show.
The rush.
It's immediate,
Yeah.
which you don't get on television.
Yeah, you can see.
The ability to perform a character from beginning to the end, in chronological order. And usually, I mean, if you're doing theater and if you're doing in theater, there are obviously some very good scripts, right? As opposed to television where there are always new scripts. Like, you're generally not working on a classic.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always a hit or miss. If you're doing TV, you don't know what you're doing is really good or bad.
Unless the director says it's good.
I mean, you have to trust your team.
Yeah.
That's very important. Trust is very important. Yeah. But if you make a mistake on TV, don't worry. You can refine it by doing another take.
Yeah.
You can refine it to perfection.
Yeah. But theatre, there's no retakes.
Yeah, exactly. And whatever refinement would have been done prior to your performance.
Have you ever ad-libbed during theatre as well?
It has happened.
This a bit more riskier than television on studio because, like you said, there's no reshoot. And if your ad-lib was not taken very well, then you're screwed.
Yeah, we all have, I think. It's happened to the best of us.
But would you say that your theatre experience helped mold you for television, or does your television experience mold you for theatre?
Oh, definitely my theatre experience molded me for TV, not the other way around. I guess that's how I ended up doing the news, in that I had all these different experiences playing all these different characters. And that's why I fit into a show like the news. Like I said, it's two completely different disciplines.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it is acting. You know, it's the same thing, but you just do it in a different way.
One is you're doing in front of the crowd, and one is like,
Behind the camera, yeah.
can't see the
in
crowd.
different order and all that, yeah.
are you more pressurized because there's more eyes looking at you? And you work well under pressure?
Am I pressured with an audience in front of me?
Yeah.
Who isn't?
You've been working for such a long time, maybe you've grown immune to it.
No.
Up to this day, you still get nervous.
No one is immune to it.
Wow. That's very comforting to hear, Just because everyone looks at you on television, we see that, you're very comfortable, very...
No one is immune
Yeah.
to standing in front of a crowd of 5,000 people.
That's very comforting to know.
I mean, you get comfortable,
Yeah.
maybe. You get a lot more comfortable on stage and all that. But, hello, there are 5,000 people watching you.
Yeah. One mistake will be a meme on the internet forever.
Exactly. It really freaks me out. Every time I go on stage, I'm still freaked out.
Okay. Would you say that you're a very shy person?
I'm not good with strangers.
I've had a podcast with Gurmit Singh. He said that his pastor called him a paid extrovert.
He's only an extrovert when he's being paid.
Exactly. But do you feel like when you were younger, you were sort of a shy person?
No, I think I was quite an extrovert when I was little.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I was. Now, I think I've changed. Now, I'm very comfortable with my group of friends and all that. But because there's a lot of over familiarity from people whom I don't know, so that makes me a bit wary. And also, I think sometimes when I meet people, there are expectations on their part of what I'm like. And that freaks me out because I am not the characters I play.
What do you think people expect of you?
To give you a joke every second. I'm not.
Like, a full-blown comedian.
Yeah, I'm not.
So expect to make you laugh all the time.
Yeah.
Because you are always been known for your comedic roles on screen and
Yeah.
all. Yeah.
So I'm not that type of person. And we all deserve some privacy in our lives. I think we all treasure that as well. Yeah.
Would you say you've played more comedic roles rather than serious roles?
Yes.
Is it because you've been pigeonholed in that way?
Yeah, that happens. That has happened.
Okay.
Yeah, quite typecast.
But you would like to explore more, you would like to explore more on a serious note, just to explore every spectrum when it comes to acting.
Absolutely. I think that's what every actor wants. You know?
Yeah.
I don't believe that any actor is one-dimensional. I don't believe that every actor who does comedy cannot be serious. I mean, people say that the actors who do comedy are the ones who can do your serious drama, but the actors who do the serious drama may not necessarily be able to do comedy.
That makes sense.
Okay, one thing that cannot be trained is comic timing.
So how do you improve on that? Like, how do you be a good comedian then?
I've got no answer. I don't know. I never set out to be a comedian, and I do not consider myself as a comedian. I'm an actor.
You've just been given that roles all the time.
Yeah.
Do you want to turn them down?
Well, I mean, why would I turn them down? I mean, I've been given many opportunities, because of the comedic roles I've done. I just need more people to ask me to do serious roles, that's all.
Mediacorp lah. I'm pretty sure you have some veto powers. Okay, give me some serious
No,
roles.
I think they've typecast me to do comedy only. And hosting, that's all.
How much hosting do you do on a yearly basis? Like once a month?
Like live?
Yeah, live shows.
A few times a month.
The countdown's a staple for you? The countdown and the National Day and all that?
Those shows, because it's televised, I mean, it's an extra layer of scary. Yeah, but basically, I mean, I do host events a few times a month.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there were some months where you host more events and some months you host less. But essentially, yeah, I am on stage several times a month to host an event. But I mean, if it's not televised, it's not so scary. But it's still scary.
Gurmit Singh, quote unquote, semi-retired because he wanted to spend more time on his family because he's been doing Countdown and National Day year after year and he didn't get to spend the precious moments with his family. Do you feel that way? You don't get your social life in order because you're always working all the time.
Well, I mean, I guess you do feel that. I mean, I have no kids, so I don't know if my dog realizes that it's New Year's Eve at all. I like those scary moments, Yeah, I like them. They drive me. They scare me, but I just, you just ride these waves, You take on the challenge. Of course, yes. I mean, when you're filming overseas and stuff, you do miss out on loads of like birthdays and stuff. And it's a pity, but I think my friends and family are very understanding.
Because they know that's your job.
That's the nature of my job. Of course, the good thing about my job is that I could have randomly 2 weeks off and I don't have to take leave. You know what I mean? Like, because it's all based on production schedule.
Project, right?
Production schedule, right?
Yeah.
So I could randomly have 2 weeks off and whatever it is. And what I do is I travel.
Just to have a bit of break lah. Speaking of your family and traveling, so we'll start on traveling. Traveling, I saw one thing you did where you cheap ways to fly business class or something. You did this thing.
Right. So there's this article about me. There are a few articles about me traveling business class on the cheap. I guess 10 years ago when I flew, a friend of mine had booked these business class tickets at a cheaper rate through an agent, and we flew to New York on business class, and I was like, after that, I'm never flying long haul in economy ever again because it was so shock. And
can lie down.
Yeah, like can lie down. And also about 10 years ago, around that same time, I had a slip disc.
Ooh. Are you okay now?
I'm okay now.
Oh.
Yeah, but I had a slip disc about 10 years ago.
How do you get a slip disc?
Exactly. It's very stupid. It happened a few times. I was doing shows and stuff, and I always thought it was just this backache. And the one that got really bad was after I leaned forward to flush the toilet. Straight after I woke up. You know, like honestly, slipped discs can happen anytime. You sneeze, you can get a slipped disc.
That's very scary.
Yeah, because say, it's already weak. I mean, how that happened, I can't tell you. No one can tell you. And I had to travel for work quite a bit. And basically, my doctor said, you can't really sit down
For a long period of time.
for 20 hours.
Can't go Hawaii.
Yeah, cannot. How to go to Hawaii? So basically, that's how it started. And then, there are all these blogs, especially nowadays, there are loads of blogs that you can read and stuff on tips on how to fly cheaper on business class, miles. Now your credit card and all that earns you miles and all that. So there are all these tips and tricks that you can use to make sure you don't ever fly economy on a long haul flight ever again. Of course, I still fly economy on short haul flights.
To Bangkok or...
Yeah, it doesn't matter, right?
Do you fly Scoot?
I'm flying Scoot in 2 days' time. I'm going to Koh Lipe.
They get flight delays all the time. I don't know whether it's worth it to...
I don't know, because their flight delays are restricted to their Boeing 787 Dreamliners. Because the Dreamliners all across the world, the Rolls-Royce powered Dreamliners, are having problems.
Okay.
It's a global thing. So they just have to go out. They just have to come out and say, we also have the same problems as Air New Zealand and Virgin Atlantic and all these airlines. All the airlines with Rolls-Royce engines are having problems.
The fact that you know this just shows how much you travel.
Yes.
You just know this particular fun fact.
Yes.
All right. Speaking of family, there's also another article, very famous article about you on the internet, about you arguing with your neighbor.
Yes, oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, not me. I've not spoken to him.
Okay, just to set the tone to listeners to what we're talking about. Basically, you had a neighbor who set up his house or like a designated area to be like a zoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and there's a lot of props that occupied space that is not within his home zone.
Yeah.
Per se. I don't know what happened, but maybe your parents and your neighbor has a bit of an argument.
I don't know.
Does he still live in
Of course, yeah. We
he's still your
see each
neighbor?
other all the time.
Not a smile.
I smile.
You smile at him. He doesn't smile
Yeah,
back.
you just smile and it's like, he's cleaned it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's no more zoo.
No, it's still quite zoo-ish.
Quite zoo-ish.
But as long as, I think there's now a passageway, because I think that's where the legal problem was.
Okay.
Like, I think it was
Blocking
yeah,
the way.
I have no idea because I don't walk that way.
Okay.
It's actually not the way to the main road.
Right.
It's actually the other side.
Okay.
So I don't walk that way.
From the picture, it looks very cluttered. It's just like so much stuff going on. It looks very busy.
It is. It's quite decorated.
At one point, it got very serious between he grazed your car or you grazed his car. There's an article, and then Fly Entertainment put out a message about the incident. Everything settled about that?
Yeah, everything is settled.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happened for that particular thing?
Well, I guess it was a misunderstanding. So from there, it just sort of festered, right?
It blew
You
up
know,
out of proportion.
Yeah. And then whatever happened with the thing, I'm not even sure how it's related, to
Okay.
be honest. How the zoo, the theme park thing is related at all, actually.
Is that the same person?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. But they're still your neighbor.
Yes, exactly. Love thy neighbor, right?
Do you think it's attributed to because you are a well-known person and that's why they want to find trouble, or is just they don't know who you are?
I can't speak for them. Can I?
No.
Because they all came from them.
That's true.
I can't speak for them.
How did your stint with Fly Entertainment came about?
I knew Irene.
She
She's
saw
a good
something in
friend.
you.
Yeah, I guess so. She was desperate enough to sign me on. You know, we're not matinee idols, but we like to make people laugh. So I think maybe she saw that similarity and that's how it happened. I mean, most of the stuff that happens, like, you know, lots of the dramas and all that, are mostly Chinese speaking or in the Mandarin language. That is
That's why I cannot find a job in Mediacorp because I can't speak Mandarin.
And I think where Irene came in, what Irene saw was that there is enough work to represent English speaking actors. Yeah, I mean, most of the dramas are actually in Chinese.
Have they made your life easier? Help you bring the moolah?
Well, of course, I'm utterly grateful for all the work that my management does for me. You know, they do all my contracts and my schedules and everything. I am terrible with these sort of things. You're lucky that we managed to meet up today because I'm terrible with scheduling anything. And yeah, absolutely grateful for the work that they do for me.
You have a very decorated portfolio. You've done movies, you've done TV series, you've done theatre, you've done hosting. Is there anything that you want to try?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, loads, I guess. I always like working with new people. Not that I don't like working with the people whom I always work with. I love them to bits. I mean, there's a thing with the way actors work, right? You find a certain pattern, you find a sense of family with a certain group of people, and you love working with these people. But most of us don't work all the time, constantly. You know, you always end up working with different groups of people. It's not like you're in the office where you're with your colleagues throughout the year. You know, you always go on and you work on something else. It could be a different genre, a different writer, different producer, and all that. And that's what an actor's life is. What do I really want to do? Okay, what I really want to do is to do a luxury travel show. No, I've done some nice stuff, but not like a whole series of luxury travel. I want to do like lifestyles of the rich and famous. Who's that dude's name?
Henry Golding?
No. Oh
Are you-
gosh,
are we-
much older.
are we talking
You are
about-
far too young.
Crazy Rich Asian?
No. This show, I'm Googling now. What's his name?
Yeah, he's picking up his phone, he's typing.
Robin Leach. It was a show in the 80s. Yes. I want to be the next Robin Leach, guys. You don't know who he is, you go and Google.
Yeah.
He's-
Leech
he's-
as in Leach?
Leachh.
Leach.
He's
Not the blood-sucking animal.
uncle. It's very 80s.
Oh, that's very old.
Yes. I believe that, you know, now that it's 2019, we need to reboot Robin Leach and Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous.
And you
I
are-
want to be Robin Leach.
You should propose that to Mediacorp.
Yes, I think so.
Just a couple of questions left. Do you see a difference between actors back then and actors now?
Yeah. Right now, information is so readily available. Last time, I mean, when you do your research, right, you really must go library.
Yeah. Now everything is on the palm of your hands.
How do I pronounce this word? Let me check. Let me Google. Put the phone to the ear. You've got your pronunciation. Last time cannot. Really must go school, you know. Now you want to pronounce, you just check Google.
Just YouTube.
Yes. For example, that lah. Yeah, I mean, I think information is of the essence, right? Information is so terribly important. Not just how you pronounce this word, but like say your character. Okay, character is whom? Your character is the nephew of Robin Leach. Who the hell is Robin Leach? You know, you would actually have to go and turn on the TV, and at this time, Thursday, 7:30 p.m., you have to wait till next Thursday, 7:30 p.m. or unless someone has the VHS of it, you know, you can't just go onto YouTube or whatever it is to find these things. You know, information is really at your fingertips.
It's more efficient.
It is a real privilege.
Wow. What projects or roles have you enjoyed most doing?
I quite enjoy Ponsak Sukhumvit.
A lot of memorable skits came from Ponsak.
Yeah, I remember interviewing John M. Chu and The Rock as Ponsak Sukhumvit in Seoul.
You got to meet The Rock.
I've interviewed him twice.
The Rock. Was this like when he was already the huge guy or was still skinny?
Well, I just interviewed him this year.
This year?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have to look that up.
Yeah. And the first time I interviewed him was a few years ago as Ponsak Sukhumvit. It's really like,
How did he receive your character?
I don't know, he didn't know whether to laugh or cry.
He was a bit confused.
Yeah.
Wow, you got to meet The Rock.
Yes.
That's like a dream of a lot of people. What is he like, The Rock?
He's really professional. He's really nice.
Despite his big physique and all that, is he intimidating at all?
Not at all.
Just
Not at all.
fun-loving guy.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, just finally, what advice can you share from experience that you've had your entire life, acting and all that? What is one thing you learned that you like to share with the listeners?
One thing. Okay, I ain't no teacher. I ain't no philosopher. So I don't have this like, I don't have this one thing to teach everyone. But one thing that we should remember is that anything goes. Don't self-censor. Anything goes.
What do you mean, like, just say fuck?
In what context?
I don't know.
I mean, don't be restricted. I wouldn't say that word on air.
You get fined like $50 per.
It's not because I'll get fined.
But it doesn't suit the purpose.
I know my context. But, don't self-censor. Say what you think is right at the right time. Don't be so concerned about what everyone thinks about you. Because that is what kills creativity. Not even a swear word. I mean, don't be afraid of communicating what you think. Yes, people will have opinions. Listen to them and then process it. But sometimes people don't even dare to put out their opinions because they're afraid of what other people are going to say.
That's true.
And lots of people are just so scared. We're not going to do this because what if this person doesn't like it? What if this person says no? And that happens all the time. So if nothing ever comes out, where is the creativity?
Because in Singapore, once you say the wrong thing, you automatically get stormed.
Yeah, but there's no such thing as right or wrong.
Yeah, subjective.
It's all subjective. It's all taken in context.
That's true.
But because of that, nothing ever happens.
Yeah.
So I guess that's my advice in about 600 words.
Speak your mind.
Yeah, I guess.
Speak your mind.
Yeah. Don't hold it all inside.
Release it.
Yeah.
Release it. Thanks, Enlai. You've shared a lot about your acting and all that. Really appreciate. I think the listeners also appreciate. I hope you had a great countdown, and I hope your 2019 will be very, very productive. And you finally get to do your travel show, and you'll be the next Robin Leach.
Yes, Robin Leach.
Robin Leach, everyone. Google him.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.